Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. This is going to be mainstream pro wrestling or indie wrestling. I want to have a discussion on both, just because as a community we don't debate on wrestling anymore, and I want to bring some debating back to the IWC. Let's talk about mainstream pro wrestling right now. The big thing that's going on in WWE is the Nexus versus John Cena. Now, I'm surprised they haven't killed off this storyline. I do like this angle. It's a good storyline. They need to keep it up. They need to keep it going. You know, I cannot stand the current WWE. I don't like the PG rating. I don't like the wrestling. It's not wrestling. It's entertainment. That's what the WWE is now. And the WWE, I had the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation. And you know, wrestling was so much better in the 90s than what it is now, because I had the Attitude Era, and everything was amazing back then. The build-up, the sets, the production, the storylines, the wrestling delivered. You know, there was just great wrestling in the 90s, and it's just not going to be like that ever again, unfortunately. Mainly because of John Cena, and you know, he is not the guy. Now, I know he has a lot of fans. I'm just not one of his fans. He is not the guy that's going to save pro wrestling. And that's what I hate about the WWE, is they're not putting on a pro wrestling product like they should. And Ring of Honor is. Ring of Honor is putting on a pro wrestling product. Because Ring of Honor has storylines, and they have wrestling that delivers. And I want it all. I want everything to deliver in pro wrestling. I want the blood. I want the violence. You know, I want the sex that the WWE used to put on. They used to put on a pro wrestling product, and they're not doing it anymore. You know, pro wrestling is meant for adults. It's not meant for kids. And you know, that's the main target of the WWE's fan base right now, is all kids, because that's where the money is. You know, WWE is going to make money off the kids, unfortunately. That's always what the WWE has been about. They've always been about money. And, you know, TNA, they're doing another ECW invasion. ECW has been dead since 2001. Let it rest in peace. You know, and you have 4 former ECW originals showing up to a TNA show. Come on, TNA. You can't come up with something more original than that. I can give you storylines for free. If you want storylines that badly, I'll give them to you for free. You know, fire creator, because the writing right now is horrible. It's absolutely awful for both WWE and TNA. Ring of Honor is the only company, the only pro wrestling company out there that's doing something different. That's giving us wrestling fans what we want. We want pro wrestling, and that's what the WWE should be putting on. And you know, I keep on trying to compare wrestling now to what it was in the 90s, and I just can't do it because it's a totally different business right now. You know, 90s wrestling is gone. It's now 2000s. It's now in the 2000s. And, you know, once you have that first live indie show that you go to, you know, you're not going to want to watch anything on TV after that, because you feel like you're a part of the show once you go to an indie show. And I've been to WWE shows live, and it feels just like a WWE show. You know, the product is so watered down, it's so boring. You know, it doesn't entertain me at all. It really doesn't. You know, Ring of Honor, their next show, Glory by Honor 10. I could go to the show. I might go to it, but I'm probably just going to watch it on pay-per-view. I cannot wait for it. You know, there's just so much going on in Ring of Honor right now. So much going on in the indies right now. And, you know, that's the type of WWE that I want to see. I want to see, you know, that old-school wrestling product that the WWE used to be, that they can put on now. And they just don't want to do it, because most of the young fans today don't even know half the guys that I grew up with. You know, I grew up with the Bret Harts, I grew up with the Shawn Michaels, I grew up with the Undertakers, the Stone Cold Steve Austins, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect. You know, I grew up with wrestlers like that, who are wrestlers, who can actually wrestle. And, you know, that's what I want WWE to be putting on, and they're just not doing it. They're putting on an entertainment product, and you know, they shouldn't be PG. They should be PG-13. It's better for business to go PG-13, because then you would be catering to both the adults and kids, but you have no adults who watch pro wrestling now. You know, they're over to MMA right now. They're watching the real stuff. They're watching the UFC. And, I can't even talk about pro wrestling because nobody watches pro wrestling anymore. I have one friend who I watch pro wrestling with, and he was my former co-host that I used to do videos all the time with. But, he's even pissed off about the WWE going PG and how bad mainstream pro wrestling is right now. And it's just not entertaining at all, and the independence is. And, if you have a local indie company in your hometown, give it a chance. You might actually like it. I know indie wrestling isn't for everyone. You're used to what the WWE gives you. You're used to what they call it. I'm not even going to call it that because Vince McMahon, you're a jackass for calling pro wrestling that for what it isn't. And, that's what I can't stand about the current WWE. It's not a pro wrestling product like it should be. They should be putting on a pro wrestling product, and they're not. That's what I want as a wrestling fan. But, I just want to talk about the two, mainstream pro wrestling and indie wrestling. Right now, I'm more into indie wrestling. And I know not every wrestling fan is going to like indie wrestling because they're not used to it yet. Give Ring of Honor a chance. I guarantee you'll like Ring of Honor. Like I said before, once you go to your first indie show, you're not going to want to watch mainstream pro wrestling ever again. I guarantee that, because when you go to an indie show, you feel like you're a part of the show. You feel like you're part of pro wrestling. You feel like you're part of that company. Whatever company it is that you go to, you feel like you're part of the show. And that's what I wish the WWE would be putting on. I wish they would be putting on a pro wrestling product like they should, and they don't. And I want everything to deliver in pro wrestling. The storyline has to make sense. The wrestlers have to make sense. Their characters have to make sense. The feud has to deliver. The build-up has to deliver. I want everything. I want the blood. I want the violence. In WWE, it's just not putting on the pro wrestling product that I want them to put on. But that's all I have for this one. I want to do this video for a very long time now. Support ROH, support the indies, support pro wrestling, because that's what I'm a mark for. I'm a mark for pro wrestling. That's all I have for this one. If you want to do a video response to this video, by all means, go ahead, comment, rate, and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.